In a land bathed in golden sunlight, a wealthy father lived with his two sons. The elder was dutiful, his hands calloused from working the fields day after day. The younger son, however, had a heart filled with restlessness, his eyes fixed on the distant horizon, dreaming of a life far beyond his father's estate. One morning, the air still crisp and cool, the younger son approached his father. His request was bold, unprecedented. He wanted his share of the inheritance, now. A shadow of sorrow passed over the father's face, but his love for his son was boundless. He agreed, dividing his property and giving the younger son his portion. With a heavy bag of coins and a heart light with excitement, the young man set off for a faraway country. He imagined a world of endless parties, luxurious living, and absolute freedom. And for a while, that's exactly what he found. He spent his money lavishly, gathering a crowd of fair-weather friends who celebrated his wealth and extravagance. He threw grand feasts, wore the finest clothes, and never thought about tomorrow. The days blurred into a whirlwind of pleasure, and his inheritance dwindled with each passing sunset. He felt like a king, invincible and adored, but the gold coins were not endless, and the laughter of his friends was as hollow as his emptying purse. Then, everything changed. A severe famine swept across the land. The once green fields turned to dust, and the markets grew empty. The young man's money ran out completely. His friends, who had praised him in his wealth, vanished like morning mist. Hunger became his constant companion, a gnawing emptiness in his stomach. Desperate, he found work with a local farmer, a humbling job feeding pigs. He, who had once dined on the finest foods, now found himself staring at the pig slop, his hunger so intense that he longed to eat their food. He was alone, forgotten, and utterly broken. In the filth of the pigsty, shivering from cold and weakness, clarity struck him like a bolt of lightning. He remembered his father's house. Even the hired servants there had more than enough to eat, while he, a son, was perishing from hunger. A new resolve hardened in his heart. He would go back. He would return to his father, not as a son demanding his rights, but as a penitent man begging for a place. He rehearsed the words over and over. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Just make me one of your hired servants." He would ask for nothing more than mercy. With newfound determination, he began the long, arduous journey home. Each step was a battle against shame and exhaustion. His fine clothes were now rags, his body thin and frail. He worried constantly. Would his father even recognize him? Would he be turned away, cast out for the shame he had brought upon the family? The road stretched endlessly before him, each mile filled with doubt and fear. He could picture his father's face, etched with disappointment and anger. He braced himself for rejection, for the cold shoulder he was sure he deserved. The hope that had sparked in the pigsty flickered, threatening to die out. But while he was still a long way off, a figure stood watching the horizon, as he had every day since his son had left. It was his father. His eyes, though old, were sharp. He saw the familiar, broken silhouette of his boy approaching. And in that instant, any thought of anger or disappointment was washed away by an overwhelming wave of compassion. He didn't wait. He didn't hesitate. He began to run. He ran with an urgency that defied his age, his robes flying behind him. He ran towards the source of his long-held grief, towards his lost son. The young man saw the running figure, and his heart stopped. He prepared for the worst. But instead of a lecture, instead of condemnation, he was swept into a powerful embrace. His father held him tight, kissing him, his own tears mingling with the dirt on his son's face. The son, overwhelmed, began his practiced speech. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." But his father wasn't listening to the words of unworthiness. He was just holding his son, his lost treasure, who was now found. The father turned to his servants, his voice ringing with pure, unadulterated joy. "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Go, bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." The entire household erupted into action. Music started to play, and the preparations for a great celebration began. The air, once heavy with silent sorrow, was now filled with the sounds of jubilation and relief. The lost son was home. Meanwhile, the elder son was out in the field, working as he always did. As he returned to the house, he heard the sounds of music and dancing. Confused, he called over one of the servants and asked what was going on. The servant explained, "Your brother has come home, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound." A hot wave of anger washed over the elder son. He refused to go inside. All those years, he had been the good son, the one who stayed, the one who obeyed every command. He had never been given so much as a young goat to celebrate with his friends. And now, for his reckless brother, who squandered the family's wealth, his father was throwing the biggest party he had ever seen. It felt like a deep betrayal. His father, hearing that his older son would not join the celebration, came out to plead with him. "My son," he said gently, "you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." He looked at his faithful son, his eyes filled with love and understanding, trying to help him see past his own sense of justice to the greater miracle of grace and forgiveness. The celebration was not a reward for the younger son's failure, but a joyous testament to a love that welcomes home the lost, a love that rejoices when what was broken is made whole again. This story reminds us that no matter how far we stray, there is a love that watches for our return, runs to meet us, and celebrates our homecoming with open arms. Thank you for watching.